What's happening, everybody? Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you're all doing pretty good today. So we're going to be continuing messing around with the Wine Country Micas, as well as we're going to try out this other mold from Jake Thompson. So it should be pretty fun. I had a blast last time. We had a lot of fun. I really like the kind of different micas that Wine Country has. So it's been fun kind of playing with those things. So we got some blanks from last week that I can share with you guys. We're having a giveaway today, so that's pretty exciting. And I have another thing that I can share with you guys. So let's switch to the overhead view. But before we do that, I'm going to kind of look. It looks like there's a lot of people here. At least the chat's going. And McDonley was first today in the chat. Oh no, sorry. And I wasn't scrolling high enough. Super Incognito was first in the chat today. Sorry about that. But welcome, Ann. And then Twyla and Dominic were coming in second and third. You guys are pretty active. And Gene's here. Mike McEwen. Nice. Richard's here. And Daniel. Nice. And actually Daniel said, we just saw this, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I'm going to try out this other mold, though. This is a different mold than the other one. The other one was just a bunch of single pen blanks. And I wanted to kind of play around with some different micas. And actually, one of the things, I was talking to Casey, we did our stream on Monday. And I have something to share. I kind of messed up when we were doing the glow powders. But I want to try something different with the glow powders. I just want to mix glow powders and see if we can kind of get a different kind of swirl pattern. They're so much heavier than regular micas that a lot of times they sink. So when I show you the results, I'll kind of share my blunder. I wasn't really thinking. But yeah, pretty much the same. I wanted to kind of start playing around with different stuff like this. I don't know. I was just kind of in the mood to kind of play with colors. We did the fluorescence and, playing with some micas. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. I don't have anything to dunk necessarily. I need to get something. I just haven't come up with anything that will be kind of fun to dunk lately. I haven't been really looking, but that'll be coming down the road. And rather than just do regular pine cones or whatever, I thought we would play around with some colors. And with the Wine Country Micas just coming out, and then Jake sent me these molds that are awesome, so figured why not? Why not? Let's see. There's a lot of chatting going on, a lot of people here. Art's here, nice. How's it going? Christina's here. Jay Campbell. I think there's a super chat. Richard, I love the pair. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it, buddy. Sweet. All right, so let's switch over to the overhead view real quick here and see what we got. These are from last week. All right, so again, we did the single pen blank mold, bunch of singles from Jake last time, and we in this one we did, well, I guess let's see, what did we do? Yeah, we did the glow powders in these. And so let me flip these over so you'll see. Let me do it right here. The glow powders, you see a lot of glow powder on the bottom, right? Which I said that a lot of times it tends to sink, but at the same time, you also see some up a little bit higher, right? So I messed up. What happened with these was I poured in some glow powder first. That's the majority of what this is. So I did wait till the end of the working time and all that, but I poured a bunch of glow powder resin in these things first, and it all just sunk. And the problem is the mica is not going to cut through that. It's not going to sink into. It's going to just lay on top. So if you're going to be mixing micas and glow powder, you're still going to have some sinking. It happens. But what I would recommend is don't pour the glow powder in first. Pour your mica powder in first, then pour your glow powder, and you should get a little bit better, swirling in there. Either way, though, these are going to be cool anyway, I think. When you turn it, you're going to have a lot of glow on one side and a lot of mica on the other. So anyway, so here are the two. We did these. Let's see here. I'm trying to think what all we did exactly. I think this was maybe an interference powder and glow powder. And then this one, let's see here. We got... Let me get these things separated. We kind of did 3 different types of things. And I had a lot of things going on. But... these ones turned out pretty cool. These ones have the little sparkly stuff. So you're going to get a lot of depth in these, I think, in the middle when you turn these guys. So pretty cool there. I really like the rich red. I forget, that might be the Merlot color. Let me just look at my notes. What do we do here? Let me get on the right page. We did Pinot Red, I think is what's in here. So I think this is the Pinot Red. That's really a nice rich red. And that's again from Wine Country Micas. And then the last one, we add a little bit of silver in on these guys with the glow powder. So pretty cool looking. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to do a set of each one of these guys. So we're going to do a giveaway today. And one lucky winner will win these 3 pen blanks. One of each. Pretty cool, huh? So one little like asterisk, the fine print with the giveaway. International shipping is ridiculously expensive. So I'll keep it open. If you are an international, if you live outside the U.S., you can enter, but there will be some shipping that you'll have to cover. And I really feel bad doing that, but it is ridiculously expensive. So just a warning before you enter. And the giveaway, we'll do it a little bit later on. What happens is we need to let the chat bot thing, it needs to like warm up, so we can't even start it right now anyway. So we'll do that a little bit later, maybe at the end. But so, you know, it'll be free shipping. And what I'm going to do for international, however much I would have spent shipping to an international address, I'll cover that, and then you guys got to cover the rest. That's all. So just one little asterisk, and I like I said, I feel bad, but it gets pretty expensive shipping these things internationally. All right, so this time actually we have another batch of blanks too. We also did a brick, and I got to go overhead here again. These ones turned out wicked. I mean, they almost look like floral, like flowers or something. I don't know. These are awesome. And so the colors that are in these guys are macro red, macro violet, and there's kind of like 3 and 3, where 3 are kind of one way, like this kind of peach color-ish. It's sort of peachish. That's golden syrah. So there was golden syrah and golden violet in 3 of them, and then we did the golden violet, I think is maybe, oh, hold on a minute. I don't even know. All these new colors, I don't know what's happening anymore. Golden, let me find out what golden violet is. Violet. Okay, yeah, that's kind of the peach color, and then golden syrah. All right, so I don't know if you can, is that upside down? Nope, wrong one. This one. So golden syrah is a little bit more red, and then golden violet it ends up being kind of a little bit peach. So golden violet and macro violet is in these ones, I think. It's 2 of them. Maybe it's these 3. I don't know. There's kind of a little bit of mix in the middle. And then the other one is is macro red and golden syrah. So whatever, they look awesome. These guys are available on my website right now if you want to pick one up. And don't forget, head over to my website, nvwoodworks.com. If you want to get the first dibs on these things, I send out an email in the morning at like 7 a.m. Pacific time. So those people, technically, whoever gets the email newsletter, those guys get the first dibs on blanks like these. Shoot, is it not? Hold on. Oh man, I don't think it loaded. The website is sometimes. Hold on, folks, hold on. What is going on? It hasn't been like I've set, yeah, that didn't. So you guys get first dibs now, I guess, too. All right, so this should be good now. Let me log out. Make sure that it is live and everything's good to go. Huh. Oh, what's happening? I don't know what's happening, guys. Let me get a link here going. Don't you hate it when technology just backfires? It should be live right now. Because it is. Huh. Okay, well, I'm going to put this link, and if it doesn't go anywhere, let me know. That should be the link to them. I'm not finding it on my normal product page. But anyway, so these guys are available right now. Sorry for the delay there. I don't know what's happening anymore. It's all crazy. And I cut up the Tequila Sunrise pen blanks. 2 of these are actually accounted for, but there's going to be 2 more. They're not available on my website yet. Before I put them live, I'm actually going to turn one myself. Somebody actually specifically requested some of these. They wanted them bad, so I saved them for him. So 2 of those are already gone. But there's as long as I'm happy with the way that they turn out, what I'm going for is pretty see-through, and so I need to test to see, you know, painting the inside of the blank itself white. I'm hoping that once you turn these down, you know, they'll be kind of see-through enough to where you'll get the kind of that same Tequila Sunrise feel. So be looking for these guys, but it's going to depend on whether I'm happy with the amount of fluorescent dye that I put in there. If it's too dark, then I might need to do another batch and decrease a little bit of that fluorescent dye. It's kind of tough to figure out exactly how much fluorescent you need for a pen blank to work exactly how you want it. So be looking for that down the road. They should be available. Man, you guys, there's all kinds of super chats happening. Oh man, except it doesn't tell me everybody that super chatted. What is wrong with YouTube these days? There's Richard. Okay, so Richard and Dave. Let me write down a note here before I forget. Because YouTube's not telling me. All right, so the other thing that I want to share with you guys real quick, and I think I'm just going to leave it on that shot. I think it'll be the easiest. On the Patron Hangout, we cast a shelf. Look at look at this sucker. So I'm pretty stoked about this. If you're a patron, you probably saw that, you know, the photo of this. What we did was we used a little bit of fluorescent dye. Again, I'm in the fluorescent kick right now, and tried to get a little bit of a gradient effect, and there is a little bit, but when you're pouring deep pour, it's got like a 2-hour working time, and I just poured it right away because I wasn't going to wait 2 hours. It wouldn't work for the live stream. But if you pour it right away, what ends up happening is it all kind of settles out. It's got 2 hours to kind of move around and play around, which I kind of knew. I knew that. I knew that there was a pretty high chance that it would just kind of bleed a little bit, or at least blend together. There still is some areas when you're looking at it that you can see. I used red, orange, and yellow, and there's areas where you can see red specifically and orange, but it's not exactly how when I poured it. You know, it didn't turn out exactly like that because it all kind of settled a little bit, and there's quite a bit of blending. So it's kind of an interesting gradient. I like it a lot. So that's going to require, if you didn't see before when I was holding it up, I wasn't too particular about the pieces of wood that I used. And so one of them is very, you know, it's proud. It's sticking way out compared to this one. So this guy is a lot thicker. So I'm going to bandsaw that off, all that excess. And then I'm going to run it through the planer to kind of, you know, quickly flatten everything. Then I'm probably going to hit it through the drum sander. It's kind of a luxury to have both of those. That'll take care of any issues. I'm pretty sure that I have just one of those cheap like lunchbox planers. And so I'm guessing that whether it already has a chip, you know, the knives in them, if they get a little nick, then you get this weird kind of line going on. I'm guessing there's probably nicks in my blades because I don't change them that much. I don't use it. I use it for like rough, you know, milling. So that way I can throw it through the plane or through the drum sander, and that will clean up any scuff marks or any weird stuff. So we'll do that, and then I'll, you know, square it up on the table saw, and then just a lot of sanding and polishing. And then it's going to be a, what do you call that? What do you call those things? Blind shelf? That's not right. Floating shelf. It's going to be a floating shelf. I guess let me pick it up again and I'll kind of give you an idea of where it's going. I said a while ago that I kind of wanted a shelf. And so it's going to go right here. And I have some floating shelf hardware from Rockler that I picked up. And it should be pretty cool. And that way I can kind of put some of these little doodads that I've made on the shelf, but also have a shelf that I made in the shop. I thought that'd be kind of fun. So it was a pretty fun pour. And just to let everybody know the way that it works, so deep pour has kind of everybody was kind of asking how long does it take to kind of set up or cure. 24 hours. It was still gooey, I would say. I didn't mess around with it too much, but it was still pretty soft. Then 48 hours, it had hardened up for the most part, but you could still kind of dent it with your fingernail. Then after 72 hours, it was hard. All right, so I demolded it on the third day. And then what I'm doing is I'm waiting the full 5 to 7 days for full cure. Then I'll start kind of milling it and messing around. So pretty fun project. I've never done anything like that. It's kind of like a mini river table. I was kind of talking about, there's kind of progressions. You know, the first thing you can make is something like, if you want to get into river tables, but you don't want to just buy 10 gallons of resin and you know, go for it. You can make something pretty small, like a you know, cutting board. I don't think I'd use it for a cutting board, but something like that, like cutting board size, kind of thinner. You know, that'll get you to, you know, dip your toes in that kind of that arena. You're going to build a similar type of mold and kind of get, you know, an idea of what's going on, but it's not as risky money-wise. You haven't spent a bunch of money on you know, wood maybe and resin. And then like something like a shelf or something like that, or maybe even like a side table, you know, that's not like a dining room table, like a gigantic thing. That'll kind of take you to that next step, you know, next step up. You're using more resin, you know, still getting your feet wet. And then, you know, the next thing, maybe you go for a full table or something like that. Once you've gotten a little bit of experience. I just think it's kind of smart to use less resin, get some experience, and then go for the bigger projects when you know, have an idea of what's going on. So anyway, let's see here. And Bib's Workshop, you have nothing to say. I love your streams. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And I'm glad you're enjoying the streams. All right, so let's see here. One thing that I forgot to do was actually get this mold in the oven. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to blow this out. I'm going to, you know, grab the air hose over there, blow it out. There's some little, you know, things that floated and landed in there. And just to let everybody know, I don't know if Jake's here today. I didn't see Jake. Actually, I don't know if Casey's here. He said he was going to stop by. I don't see Jake, so anyway, so if you're not familiar or you don't know where I got these are from Jake Thompson. So Jake sent these out. He's got some videos making these guys. He's going to start selling them in a few weeks. I think he's trying to get things set up so that he can kind of mass produce them. So they're not available yet. I think he's also trying to, you know, get a little bit of feedback from, you know, after I use them and a couple other people. Just make sure that he's got a solid product before he starts, you know, selling these guys. But they will be available soon, and they are very nice molds. So just a couple of little things here about them. The idea is to get as much, you know, resin in your mold, you know, compared to just like the 4 single pen blanks, or, you know, maybe even just something like this. He wanted to maximize how much you could get, and then so you're going to need to use a 5-gallon pressure pot with this. These won't fit in a 2.5 gallon, but you know, that's many people at this point. That's kind of what people are buying because they're the best value. And then he makes these little cradles, so your mold's not flopping around while you're picking it up, trying to get it on a rack or, you know, getting it in the pressure pot. That's one of the issues with silicone molds, is they can be kind of floppy. So it's a really solid, you know, mold, and the rack system is just ingenious. So you can kind of lay it down on your table with the little flaps down, do all your pouring, just flop them up, and then pick it up, and you're good to go. So I'm going to toss this in the oven now. I guess I technically you could probably put the whole thing in there with the rack, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it'll fit. There probably wouldn't be any harm in heating up the HDPE underneath it as well, but whatever. We don't need to do that. All right, so for today, there's two things that I want to do. One of them is going to be that mold, and then we're going to do another one of these 6 pen blank molds. And I think for this one, what I want to do is play with that glow powder. I just want to try mixing just glow powder, like a couple different colors, maybe 3 colors of glow powder, and try and see if we can get it to color swirl, since all of the 3 colors in that case are all going to be the same density weight. You know, like specific gravity is actually, I think, the term that you would use. They shouldn't necessarily want to sink below one another, you know, or one underneath the other one. They should be pretty similar in that density. So we should be able to color swirl them a little bit. And I think Casey has done this also, but we were kind of talking about it, and I was like on the podcast, and I was like, I want to try that out. So we'll do that on the second round. And if you're kind of weren't here last week, let's just say, or new, Wine Country. So Casey Martin, if you're not familiar with him, Casey Martin is he's the other host of the Resin Cast podcast, the audio podcast we do. He makes blanks and he has a YouTube channel, but he's also now selling micas and other stuff. So he came out with some glow powders and a whole slew of different colors with micas. And what was nice is he kind of chose slightly different colors than are normal, I would say. He kind of has the wine theme with a lot of the colors, which I thought was pretty cool. And he also has a few like flakes, a couple different types of things. And so it's pretty cool. Like I'm pretty impressed with the lineup, the selection. And frankly, he may even expand and do different stuff. Who knows? So I thought, let's play around with a little bit of color here. So I'm going to set these guys. We'll do all 3 of these colors. There's green, blue, and orange. He's also got some that are like the typical, your more typical glow powder where it's kind of white, which we could toss some of that in too, but it's blue and green. So we already have a blue and green that actually has some color. So I think let's just go with those guys. During the day, these would just look kind of milky white, the ones that start white. So I think that's why I like these ones that have some pigment in them. So let's go with those. And then for Jake's mold, now I don't know how, let's see, Jake is not here, I don't think, right? Oh, Casey is here. Nice. What's up? I don't see Jake. He didn't say he was going to make it. Right now he's probably in the middle of building his resin casting room. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this out and I'm going to show you how I'm going to estimate how much resin we're going to need for this thing. Let's just get this in the middle. We'll put the overhead camera on. And I'm sure that once Jake actually sells these, he'll probably, I will recommend that he tells people how much resin these things hold. So we have a really big cavity. So this is nice. You can probably get 10 pen blanks almost out of this, or at least 8. And then you got a couple singles, and then these are like maybe, I don't know, kind of doubles or knives. These look like a knife scale kind of size. So first thing let's do is let's measure. And I'm kind of thinking that it's probably very similar to what the other one was, which I think it was something like 804 grams. I have it written down somewhere. The other mold was, yeah, 804. So I would imagine, just looking at this, it's probably a little bit more because there's not as many like divisions. So maybe like 900. But what I'm going to do is we're going to measure. So we got about 7 1/4 by 5 and I don't know. Let's just call it like about 1/4. So 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. Let me write this down. And then we have about 1 5/8 or so. Let's call it 1 3/4. Overshoot a little bit by 5 1/4. 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. A lot of calculating that I'm going to have to do here for these, but that's okay. 5 1/4, and that's 7/8. So I think we can consider this about the same size as this one. So I'm just going to do 3 times that. All right, so I'm going to multiply all those together. So the middle one is 7 1/4, 7.25 times 5.25 times, I want to get about an inch out of that. So times 1. That gives me 38. Is that right? 7.25 by... Yeah, 38. And then we're going to multiply that by, is that right? 38. Let me make sure that I'm doing this right. So, yeah, that is right. Okay. So 38, and then I'm going to multiply that. So the calculation is multiply, take your area, the volume that you got. So, length times width times height, times the magic number is 0.554 equals, so that's probably 21 ounces is most likely what that needs. And then I multiply that to convert it to grams, because I use grams just for my measurement. You can use whatever you want, but that's what I use. And then what I do is I'm just going to multiply that by 29, and that's about 611. So we're probably good with around 600 for that middle one. And now I'm going to multiply 1 3/4 by 5 1/4 times 1, again times 0.554 times 29. And that's 147, 148. Now I have 3 of those though. So times 3 is about 440 grams. This is a big one. So we're going to be pouring lots of resin. So I got our glow powders. We'll play with glow powders on the second round. I think what we should do here is, let's see here. Trying to figure out, I didn't really think ahead on how we're going to do this, but I think we can. I'm just looking at the different powders. So all right, so I think how we're going to work this, I'm going to have Richard and Dave Sloan pick a color. All right, and I'm going to try to match up whatever color to something that Wine Country has. I guess this will be the easiest way to do it. And then Bib's Workshop, what I'm going to have you do is pick one of the macro colors, the macro color shift ones. So we'll do a 3-color pour. These are the macro, so it's like macro pearl, but it's got kind of like an interference color in there. And so we'll add a little bit of depth. It'll be kind of clear with, almost sparkly, glittery kind of look. All right, so Richard and Dave, just pick a color, and I'll try and match one up with one of the ones that we have from Wine Country. They pretty much have every color. It's not like they have 3 colors of each type of, 3 shades of every color, but I'll try and match it up as well as I can. And then Bib's Workshop, you pick, so I guess I'll have to let you know what we have in those macros. There's blue, let's see here, where are we here? We got green, blue, and red, and violet. So kind of like your interference colors, except the only thing is there's no gold one. It's just blue, red, green, and violet. All right. I think that should kind of work, hopefully. And let me get this thing back into our oven. May not matter so much that it's warm or not. Red sounds good. Nice. I like that quick, decisive answer. That's a man who knows what he wants. Okay. And did we get, let's see here. Richard wants green. All right, we got, we have Chardonnay green, which I really like this green. It's a little bit different than a lot of the greens that you see out there. Kind of a nice looking green. I like that. All right, so we got green, we got the macro red color shift, and we're just waiting on Dave Sloan. Pick a color. Yeah, I know. I really like the I really like the macro things. They're different, you know. It's fun to play with something a little bit different. But I like the glow powders. I like all of it, and I like the color, like the tones, the shades of the colors. A lot of them. Those two reds that we did last week were really nice and rich. So it was the Merlot. I don't know, some whiny name. We did the Pinot Red, and we did the Golden Syrah. Both of those are nice and rich. I really like the Pinot Red. That one's a good one. Midnight Blue. Okay, so we have Ocean Blue. I think that's the closest we got to Midnight. There's a Sky Blue. So I'll give you a choice out of the two blues that we got here. So we got a Sky Blue and an Ocean Blue. All right, Sky Blue is going to be a little bit darker. Not midnight, but darker. And then Sky Blue is a little bit more kind of on the turquoise end of the spectrum, I'd say. Turquoise or teal-ish. So you let me know which one of those you want. That should be pretty sweet. Blue, green, and macro red. Good color choice. I like that. All right, so let me get my little, while I'm waiting here, we'll get my book out. So we need to mix up 1,040 grams total. Hopefully my calculation was right. Should have been. So today is, first thing I'm going to do is write the date. So today's the 19th. And we're doing Wine Country. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wine Country and Jake's Molds 2. All right, so number 1, we're doing the Jake's Mold. So I need 1,040 grams total. And we're going to do 3 colors. And I think we can just split it down the middle. Sometimes I'll play around with different percentages or things like that. Okay, so Sky Blue. Ooh, that turquoise color. Nice choice. I like it. I like it. But in this case, I think we're just going to go for right down the middle. So 1,040 divided by 3 is somewhere in the neighborhood of 345. 346, whatever. We'll just get it pretty close. And then we're going to go with Chardonnay green. We're going to go with Sky Blue. And we're going to go with macro red color shift. Okay, we got number 1 ready to rock. I got my notes down. We're going to be using the last thing that I forgot to put it again. So we're using Jake. I'm just going to call this Jake Block mold. And we're going to use Alumilite Clear Slow. I just put Slow Set Clear, SS Clear. Okay, so we got that going. We got our pearls. Let me get my Apple Watch off so that I don't get resin on it. That would suck. We're going to need a big bucket this time. So 500 times 2. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to need a pretty big bucket, I think. I don't even think I'm going to mess around pumping. Let's see. All of my buckets are full, though. That's too bad. All right, well, I don't really have enough buckets, the big ones right now that are clean, and I don't want to waste time cleaning out a bucket. So what we're going to do, instead of me mixing the whole thing all at once, we're going to mix 3 different buckets, a little bit smaller. So let me just double check and make sure that my math was correct. Yep. 340. Yeah, okay, so we're going to go with 346 actually. That'll be closer. I was going to be doing it the other way where I just mix up the total. So 1,040 divided by 2. So that would have been easy to measure it out. In this case, we're going to do 3 different cups and mix them separately just because I don't have a gigantic bucket. So we're going to try and get that number a little closer. 346 times 3. Should be able to get all that in a quart cup. I'm just going to get these TCP Global ones. They're a little bit bigger than the standard quart cups. Oh, these things suck. I really don't like them. Plus, at this point, I consider them disposable. So we have our TCP Global ones. So let me switch to the casting view so you can kind of get a view, a shot of what I'm kind of doing here. You don't need like up close action, I don't think. Just need to kind of see what I'm doing here. So zeroing the scale out. Where do you find the Wine Country Micas? At winecountrymica.com. Get you a link here. They even have the little silicone mats. That's pretty snazzy too. There's a link for you. Yeah, I think there might be a link somewhere else, possibly in the show notes. All right, so I've zeroed my scale out, and we need, let's see here. So the nice thing is Alumilite Clear Slow is just a 1-to-1. We're doing 3, hopefully this is divisible. 346 divided by 2. It is 173 times 2. So here we go. This is zeroed. I just want to double check. Yep. And 173. Part A. I think I went way over. I went way over. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, so I'm going to dump some of this back because, well, where are we at here? Yeah, way over. I was just pumping and pumping, and I wasn't even thinking about what I was doing. Still a little bit over. Luckily, I didn't go brain dead when we were doing the part B part. That's when you don't want to mess up. You can mess up on the part A. You're all right. Not the second one. You can mess up. You just got to add more part A. That's a pain. Jeez. There yet? Definitely don't need this big of a cup. I was overthinking what we needed. 80. Oof, 179. Oh, there we go. 172.8. I almost nailed it perfect. Okay. I'll just add a little bit there. 173. Perfect. Okay, so 170. The way that I do this though, so that was just the part A. I'm going to put the part A in each one of my cups first so that nothing's starting to set up on me. Zero that out. 173. I got to remember that. That time I was paying attention. Oh, but I still went over. Jeez. Okay, I'm not going to dump it. I'm just going to pull some out. I'm just barely over. One thing I could do is just add more part B on this one, but I'd rather just keep everything the same so I don't mess up or anything. All right, so 173. And zero this guy out, 173 in this one. $72. All right, so 173, I got that. Part A, 173 in each one. I'm going to zero this out. Now we're going to add all the part B. This is where you got to pay attention. So part B, 173. Ooh, that was close, 172. $173. Zero this one out. And you always want to keep re-zeroing every time. Ooh, 173, look at that. On the dot. Zero this one out, and 173. Mm, 172.4. Okay, so we have 173 times 2 in each one of these guys. Get out some, I'm going to actually just use the, be good here with the, yeah, I think I'd rather have longer ones. This one, and that one. All right. I'm going to mix them up. Now, the minute that you add that part B, the clock starts ticking. So it's not when you mix it, when it's fully mixed or anything. It's the minute that you add the part B. So just kind of keep that in mind. And doing it this way, they're all going to kind of hit that temperature to pour the color swirls at different times. Slightly different, but it is going to be slight, you know, they're not all going to hit that temperature at the same exact moment. It's not a big deal, it doesn't matter, but mainly you just need to get that first one. And it'll only take a second or two for the other ones to reach the same level. Oh, I'm spilling it all over the place. Flipping it all over. Got a couple of spills. All right. And this one. And I'm not stirring a whole lot on this first round. I just want to get it kind of mixed up good enough. Because I'm going to keep stirring. And we have to wait till the end of the working time. So I'm going to keep stirring this more to make sure that I've given it the full thing. God, I'm spilling these things all over the place. What's wrong with me today? Okay. All right, so we're good there, and I just want to get the stuff in. I really don't like how short this stick is. Got the short end of the stick there, guys. Why don't I have another HDPE one that's a little bit longer? All right, that'll do. All right, so we got Chardonnay green. Let's add, let's see, so we got 173. I think we're gonna go for, I'm gonna add a half teaspoon and see how I feel about it. These are gonna be pen blanks for the most part. So I got a half teaspoon here, can you see? Yep. And we're gonna add that. And I'm gonna mix it up and just kind of see where we're at. See how I feel about that mixture. With micas, you can kind of just sneak up on it. And if you're doing pen blanks, this is going to be different than something that's going to end up being a thicker thing that you're not drilling into. So if you're doing bottle stoppers, if you're doing spheres, you know, anything like that where it's going to be, or like a handle, where you're really not taking any material away and it's going to be significant, you know, like an inch or two thickness. Whatever's in the cup, however it looks in the cup at that point, if you got a pretty thick blank that you're going to be turning, then what's in the cup is going to be kind of how it looks. But for pen blanks, you're going to turn it, you're going to drill out the center, then you're going to turn the blank down, right? So what I do is I just kind of get some on a stick and then see what we're looking for is if it's super see-through, if you can see the stick through it, then you're going to be able to see that tube. So let's go for a full teaspoon. That's actually not too bad. For what I find with mica powders, green tends to be very see-through, no matter which one, but this one's actually a little bit less see-through. But we're going to double down. We're going to put a teaspoon, or a full teaspoon of mica in here. And most likely that's what I'm going to put for all three of these, but let's kind of mix this up and see where we're at. That's a really nice looking color. What do you guys think of that green? Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that's much more opaque on the stick. I know it's kind of a white stick, so it's not the greatest test on the planet, but I think that doesn't look like there's a big blob of white underneath there. All right, so we'll go with, and let's just kind of see what a half teaspoon of sky blue looks like. We got time. We got a half teaspoon. Ooh, that's a nice looking color. These are going to be pretty nice blanks, I think. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't need the silicone mat right now, but I actually did use it when we were doing the that shelf. I actually had that laid out. Helped a lot. So the blue is not too bad after a half teaspoon, but again, we're going for pen blanks. Let's just go for the full teaspoon. And ensure that way, if this green does end up being a little bit more see-through, like I said, in my experience, greens tend to be see-through. They are one of, you know, there are a few colors of mica powders that just are very difficult to get, very opaque. So if we can kind of double down on this and make it very opaque, then it's not going to be as big of a deal having a little bit, because we're color swirling. We're not going to have a big blob of green necessarily. So this should kind of help balance things out. The other thing is, I guess in the end it doesn't matter that much, because this last one, the macros, you're going to have to paint the inside of the blank most likely, because it's going to be quite see-through. Now, one thing that you can do, if you wanted, you could add a little bit of dye as well, but you kind of risk you know, kind of messing up the macro effect, that kind of color shift effect if you did that. So this one I'm not even going to mess with testing. We're going to go for 2, and this is a half teaspoon what I'm using. That's why I'm doing 2 to get a full teaspoon. We're going to go for the full teaspoon here. Okay, let me give this green a little bit of a stir. Let me get the lid back on my macro pearl one. Get that out of here so I don't get resin in it or anything. I've been spilling it all over the place today. So probably a good idea. I should probably go get the safety glasses out actually too. On those spilly days, you don't want to get resin in your eye. Give this a little bit of a sloshing. And then here we go, the macro red color shift. And so this one's going to be very see-through. It doesn't add a lot of opacity or anything like that. It's just kind of sparkly. And then you have that interference kind of red in there. It's really cool. It's an interesting flake. And definitely one that I don't think that I've even seen before, really. I'm sure somebody might have one, but most of the normal mica powder, companies that I use, I have never seen that. So very cool. All right, so let's see what temperature we're at. Like I said, we're gonna wait till the end. Now in my shop, it's 72 degrees in here right now. And I usually wait till about 95 to 100. So we're at 99 right now in the green. Not a big deal if we're a little bit over that even. 96. And 95.5. So for the most part, I think that we're pretty much ready. We can pour right now. And the reason that I wait is that will help lock in those colors, keep it from kind of bleeding together. All right, so we got our mold here. It's centered and everything's ready. I'm going to get my other mold in the oven right now while I'm thinking about it. And let's go for it. So I'm just going to kind of start out with a little bit of green in each one of these guys. Go with a little bit of blue here. And then we will add some of this macro. Oh, that's going to be sweet. Now, one thing, if you're going to be pouring kind of and messing around, you may want to, go for start pouring at a lower temperature, right? Or pour more at once. You don't want to get to the point where the stuff is setting up on you. I'm okay. I think that I'm all right with my timing and everything, but you do have to kind of watch that. You don't want to wait too long. Okay, a little bit of this macro. All right. Up with this green. I think I poured everything fairly even, which is surprising. I would say that's maybe one like thing about these molds. You got to kind of be a little bit cognizant of how much. Now, I think actually Jake, I think he put kind of a mark, because there's a little bit of flashing in these things, and so I think there's kind of a little bit of a tell, once you've filled the mold, basically. So but I'm not 100% certain. So I like to kind of add a little bit of a swirl. So I just grabbed a little stick. And then I'm even going to kind of come through, and then you can kind of just swirl that around. Do whatever you want with your swirly stick. Have fun with it. All right. And we're done. So then at this point, all you do is just lift those handles up. I don't know if you guys can kind of see. No, I'm gonna switch to this other work area view so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then just carefully get your mold, and these things fit perfectly in these 5-gallon pressure pots. This is a CA Technologies, but it fits in the California Air Tools as well as the TCP 5 gallons. Does not fit in the 2.5s. Okay. I need to get a permanent mounting bench thing. I'm just going to add on to this little rolly cart, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I have my little saw bench that is makeshift. It works though, gets it up there so I'm not bending over, killing my back. And then up to 70 psi is what I'm going to go. I'm going to clean off my stir sticks here so they're ready to go for the next round. There's one. One thing to note, if you're like the difference between a 2.5 and a 5, it's going to take twice as long to fill the 5. It's usually not that big of a deal, but if you're like, if you waited a little too long, having to wait twice as long to get that thing up to pressure, you know, you could end up getting bubbles in there. So I think this is more of an issue for me when I use Alumilite white, because that stuff doesn't really have like this massive, you know, long gel period. It's pretty much liquid and then it turns hard like within like 20 seconds. And so for me, I like having the small ones a lot of times because I got to get it in there. You don't have it's a 2-minute working time in the first place. I got to get it in there and just, you know, move on and get that thing up to pressure. For most other resins, you got plenty of time. It's not that big of a deal. And realistically, to get the bubbles gone, you really only need to get to 40 psi. That's kind of the minimum bar. So once you've reached that, you're good to go. But just be aware of that. It is going to take twice as long. It also takes twice as much air. And so when people, you know, and I get this question a lot, what compressor should I buy? And I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge about compressors necessarily, but you need to have one that will get to the PSI level that you're going for. And actually it needs to be actually higher than that. And it's a good idea to get one that is at least as much capacity as what you're trying to fill up. So if you got a 5-gallon pressure pot, I'd recommend getting a 5-gallon tank, you know, pressure tank. Otherwise your compressor is going to have to run all the time to fill it up. Plus 5 gallons is a pretty good size anyway, or somewhere near there, to be using it for other types of things. If you're going to buy, I guess I didn't do the right camera. I was going to do this one. If you're going to buy a compressor, why not get one that can do, you know, that'll work fine for your resin casting, but also will work great for, you know, if you needed a brad nailer or you needed this or that, or, you know, filling up air in your tire. Get something that's going to be useful if you're going to spend the money, because they really don't cost that much more. Like the bare minimum one isn't that much more, isn't that less expensive. It's not that much cheaper, let's say, use your English, than something that's, you know, twice as much capacity. They don't work that way. So that's always my recommendation. Get something that'll fit in your space, but get something that's, you know, going to do the job that you want it to do, plus other things. Make it double down on its work. All right, so I'm just hitting these with a little bit of acetone just to make sure that there's no micas or resins or any stuff. And they'll be ready to rock on the next round. So this one is going to be a little bit more straightforward. We're just going to be going for the 3 glow powders. Hope I didn't call them fluorescent. Glow powders is what they are. Like I said, we were talking about it, Casey and I, on the podcast on Monday, and I was like, and he mentioned, oh, you know, they probably, I mentioned that I messed up when I poured the first, you know, I poured glow powder in the bottom of these first, which they're going to turn out cool, but it's not what I was going for, and I kind of messed up. So he's like, oh, if you just go for the 3 glow powders, they probably will swirl better. So let's go for that. We're going to do it in the 6 blank pen mold. So I just call that my 6 blank mold. I'm going to get 6 out of that. And we'll just go for red, blue, and green glow powders. That'll be kind of fun, I think. Let's see here. What's going on in the chats here? Yeah, Ed was talking about that bench. This was actually, it's a saw bench for sawing. That's why I made it, but I don't really do woodworking hand tools ever. I have used it, but for that, but for the most part, it's more like I sit on it. Usually, that's mostly what it does, or it holds my pressure pot. Actually, I use it as a step stool too when I have to get up on a shelf or something like that. All right, so number 2. Actually, I might. I think I'm going to switch it up because I really one of the issues that I personally have with glow powders, they're pretty hard on blades. They, when you're turning, but also saw blades, and so a lot of times when I cut these up in a brick, my saw blades toast right after that. Like it destroys it. So not destroys it, but I'm going to have to sharpen it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with these guys instead for it. And I always forget what how much we need to put in there. Actually, I think I'm going to use the other one. It doesn't have my marks on there. So I'm going to get this guy in the oven. Let's see, 7/8 by 1. I'm going to do that same calculation. There's 5 slots. There's 7/8 by. Let me see what I always forget the length. I think it's 6.5. I'm going to get my ruler out. Oh, 5.5. 7/8 by 5.5 times 1 times 5. So let's see what that is. That way I can just pop those guys out and not have to cut them. I might sand them a little bit just to knock off any sharp edges, but. All right, so I'm going to do the overhead view so you can see what I'm doing here a little bit, sort of. I know it's not really, it might be a little bit kind of blown out, but I'll tell you what I'm doing here. So first things first, I'm going to calculate. So I'm just going to call it 1 by 1 by 5.5 equals, all right, 1 times, should be 5.5. There we go. Times 0.55 times 29. And then that times, so that says it's about 87. I'm going to guess that these things are most likely closer to like 80 each, maybe 85 at the most. I'm going to just go with 83 times 5 because there's 5 slots. So we need about 415 grams. I'm just going to bump that up to 420. 420. So number 2, we're doing glow powder swirl. I'm just going to say glow swirl. And that mold, I'm going to call it, that's the Maker Select. If you want to snag one, these things are so cool. So we got all kinds of good options for molds. So these things have these little plugs in them, and you can just take a air hose and blow your blanks out. Basically, that's what I do. One thing I want to do is go hit this with some mold release real quick. I'm going to do that over kind of in the corner. I like to spray it so the overspray doesn't get everywhere. I'm just kind of doing it back here, no big deal. Just giving it a couple little puffs with the Stoner mold release. Give you a shot of what the can looks like. You guys all know what this stuff is. This stuff. So I just hit it with that real quick. And then let's pop this back in the oven. Ready to rock my... I really need to get a magnetic thermometer. That would be a lot smarter, I think. Oh, the thing fell over again. Get out of my way. Okay. So those are the Maker's Select. You can get those at Turner's Warehouse. There's a link to Turner's Warehouse. If you use that, down in the show notes, if you use my link, Chad hooks me up with a little referral bonus. So definitely do that. You don't have to, but if you want to help support the show, you can use those links. All the links down in the show notes. The one to Alumilite, Amazon links, all that kind of stuff. Those are all pretty much, well, anything that's Turner's Warehouse, Alumilite, or Amazon is going to be an affiliate link. I definitely appreciate the support. All right, so slow set clear resin. And then I'm just, again, we're going to split this down the middle. So we got 420 divided by 3. So 140 for each. We're going to go with glow blue, glow red, glow green. This should be pretty fun. These are going to be wild. Let's see here. So I'm going to go 210. So when I'm mixing, I'm going to go 210 grams of part A, 210 of part B. And I'm going to do this one in just 1 cup this time. And then dump off, you know, for each color. All right, so we have our notes. We got the plan of attack, guys. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. Switch to the casting. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I guess I was already there. Casting view. All right, so 210 grams of part A. And for anybody that buys pen blanks, especially the team color pen blanks from me, I still haven't gotten my Alumilite white shipment, so there's quite a few blanks that are actually out of stock right now. But they will be back in stock probably within about a week. I know the Bowls colors, the red, black, and white is out. I'm trying to think which other ones. The Gators, Florida, 220. Oh, I went over. Shoot. And I'm not paying attention to my calculations today. Thinking about team color blanks. So basically, there's a few that are out right now, but they should be back in stock. It's on the way, I believe. Should be on its way. My resin shortly, if it's not already. So we're at 210. Zero that out. So we're going with our part B. Paying attention this time. So 210, 208, 209, 210. Look at that. All right, so we'll use that stick and we'll get a couple extra cups. Actually, I need some more cups. I'm out of cups. Don't worry. We got tons. Okay, so we got 2 cups there. Start mixing this guy up. Let's see what's happening here. Get back down to current part of the chat. Oh, Jake's here. Building the resin room. I knew it. Sweet. Awesome. So we already did your mold, man. We got it in the pressure pot. We went for a couple different colors. So we did a green, blue, and we went with that macro stuff that we were messing with last time. The macro pearl red color, like shift stuff. So that should be pretty cool. It was looking really awesome. And I like that mold, that block mold. That thing, man, that is a lot of resin. You get a lot of blanks out of that thing. So awesome. We only went for like one thing instead of me trying to do 50. That was one of the problems with last time. I was trying to get as many examples as possible, and a lot of times when you're trying to do too many things at once, not to say that I'm unhappy or anything like that. I think the blanks turned out good, but sometimes it could have maybe been better had I not done that, you know. So I thought we'd focus on one thing, and then this time we're going to be doing some singles with the glow powder. So last time we were kind of messing around with micas and glow. And you know, it's kind of tough. They sink. A lot of the glow powders do when mixed with other things like dyes or micas. And so Casey mentioned, like, if you just mix a bunch of glow powders, different glow powder colors together, you can just shouldn't really you know, one shouldn't necessarily sink under the other the same way. It should be about even. So I think it'll be kind of cool. We're going with blue, green, and red, all 3 of those colored glow powders. That should be pretty sweet. Actually, you know what? One thing here, I want to do one little experiment. We're going to swap out We're going to swap out the blue. So this one was colored, right? It's blue. It's going to be a blue glow, but it's also a blue color. One thing that we haven't used yet is, you know, I keep saying that this stuff kind of looks milky. Well, the way to get around that is you add dye to it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to change things up here real quick. I'm going to get rid of blue, and we're going to go with, this is a blue glow, but it's a white powder. So during the daylight, it's just going to look kind of milky white. But what we're going to do is, let's see, so let me just write notes. I'm writing that we're using the white one with the blue glow, plus we're going to add some violet dye. We're going to make it purple during the day, but it's going to glow blue. All right. So that'll be kind of an interesting, different take, and that's how you can, you know, you can do anything at that point. You can add whatever color you want to those white ones, and it'll turn out one way during the day. You could add micas too. You want to be a little bit careful though if you're adding micas or heavy dyes. Like I probably wouldn't recommend using the opaque ones like the divine pigments in this case, because it's going to kind of cover up your glow powder, right? So you got to kind of, it's a balancing act in this case. You want to make it look okay, but you also want to keep that glow powder. So let's see, what did we add? How much glow powder did we add last time? Oh, I didn't write it down. I think I just kind of eyed it. All right, so I need to break off some resin here, so 140 grams. A little over, no big deal. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do here is add, should have looked up how much we added. I'm guessing we probably want like at least a half teaspoon. So I'm going to add a half teaspoon. This is that blue. It's going to glow blue, but it looks kind of white during the daylight. So we're going to add a half teaspoon, and I'm going to kind of see what this looks like. In fact, that's I think what we're going to do. I think we might just go with half teaspoons of each of these. Let's see here. Tough to tell. Let me add the red actually too, because we need this to work more than the other one. I think we're gonna have to go for a teaspoon. That's very see-through. We're at a teaspoon. Sorry guys, I can't remember what we did last time. That's looking a little bit better. I think they are going to be a little see-through. We're going to go for 1.5. See how that looks. Yeah, that's not too bad. I like that. About 1.5 teaspoons. All right, so 2, 3. Oop, I almost spilled that. That would have been terrible. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's get these covered up so that I'm not messing around with these or spilling resin in them. Any of that stuff. So once again, for blocks, you don't have to add as much glow powder. You know, for pen blanks, that's where, you know, we're kind of running into some issues because you end up being so thin at the end that it requires a little bit more if you want to get the color in there, right? Blocks, you'll be okay for, you know, stoppers and all that kind of stuff. Handles. Okay, so let's do this one here where we got the just regular glow powder in there. One other thing is glow powder can tend to be kind of clumpy. Tends to take a little bit longer to get stirred up. And even once you've gotten it all kind of stirred up, you might have a little bit of clumpiness in the bottom of your blank, but you just end up cutting that off anyway, so it's not a big deal. All right, so, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. It's just kind of, you know, glow powder. What you know, just kind of a milky white, meh, you know. So we're going to use a little bit of Alumilite Violet. And we're going to kind of sneak up on it. We're going to add a drop and see where we're at. All right, so, but that looks great now, right? We got a nice looking thing that's going to look like that during the day. And then it'll glow blue. And I think we're good to go. I mean, just one drop is all it took. Partly because we had already added quite a bit of material in there, right? There was a bunch of glow powder in there. So that's the way to kind of get around that. And so it's not like, you know, you're not really at a disadvantage having just the white powdered stuff. You just got to understand those are meant to be used with other dyes so that you get that daylight color. You know, you can use whatever color you want at that point, basically. But again, I would recommend using the Alumilite dyes that are transparent to get the best results, I think. That's the way to go. All right, so I'm feeling these, they're pretty warm already. Let's see what temperature we're at. Oh, 103. We're getting there, guys. I am going to wait just a little bit long. I was going to wait just a little bit longer anyway, so 103. They should all be the same since I mixed it all the same. I want to see, this one might be a little bit lower because it's kind of more spread out in the cup. Yeah, 100. But I think we're about ready. I was going to wait till about 105, which is about where we're at already, so that's easy. Get this stuff arranged here. All right. Are you guys ready? Let's do this. These are going to be fun. I'm digging them. I think I overshot how much. Well, one thing that I didn't account for is the glow powder is also going to take up volume in your mold. So that's why we're a little bit thick on these guys. Okay, we're pretty close. I mean, it's not crazy over, but you are adding material, volume. That's so you can probably kind of knock it down just a little bit from what you might have needed. These are going to be cool. All right, so we're going to toss those two and open this guy up. We're going to pop this guy in the mold. You can see kind of in that in that low one there. Bottom right-hand side of the screen. Okay. And this is my 2.5 gallon CA Technologies. And so I can take mine up to, these are good, they have a max PSI of 80. I go to 70 in them. And there we have it. Just make sure you don't over pressurize your pressure pot and you'll be good to go. Gotta get these things out of my way. I'm gonna clean up that stick in a second here once we get this popped off. I'll lock down that ball valve, take our pipe or our air hose off, and we are golden, guys. So those things turned out pretty sweet. Wow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing that, those glow powders. I wasn't sure, I was like, oh, let's try it out. That's a good combination right there. And I like that purple. That purple turned out really good. So just, again, 1 drop. Now, purple's a little bit darker out of all the dyes that Alumilite has. Things like red, yellow, orange. I don't know, red, yellow, and orange are much lighter on the spectrum. Their normal blue is really dark. The green's pretty dark. Purple's dark. And what's the other one that I was going to say? Missing one? Their ocean blue is a lighter blue, so it's more transparent. Now, all of them are technically transparent, except for your fluorescents get opaque, and then the black and the white. Those are opaque dyes. But generally, they're all transparent, but some are darker and give the appearance of not really being see-through. Because it darkens it up so much. So just kind of be aware of that, but you're good to go. You could use any of these colors, but you don't want to overpower with some opacity. You don't want to, kill the glow effects. If you put a bunch of other stuff that's opaque in there, then it's not going to glow, or you're not going to really see it. So you got to kind of balancing act with these things, adding your colors and still getting your glow. So I think that purple should work pretty well for that. I'm pretty happy with it though. So let me just clean my cup. So we have a giveaway to do, guys. Woo-wee. Who's ready for a giveaway? All right, so we're giving away a set of the blanks that we made on last week's stream. So they're one of each kind that we made. And they have glow powder and micas. This one's got some, what did we do here? I'll look at my notes. We did... We added some like interference. You know what? I don't even know what we did. Interference violet. That's what's in there. We added a little bit of interference violet in this one. We did some pewter with the red and the glow, and then this one's got all kinds of craziness going on. So lots of different things, but one of each of the blanks that we made in the big mold with the glow powders. All right. Now, the one caveat, so if you live in the US, everything's free and I'll ship it to you and I'll cover the shipping. If you are international, I will cover up to what I would have shipped, what I would have paid to ship in the US, which is, I think, around, I'm trying to think how much it costs. It's like $4 or something like that to ship USPS the way that I do it, first class. So like $4 will be covered, and then if you're international, you'll have to cover the difference. And I'll just send you a PayPal invoice for that. So just be warned up front, if you're outside of the US, it's not a totally free thing. You're gonna have to pay to get it to you a little bit. And I do apologize for that, but shipping is ridiculously expensive. So let's see if we can get this thing fired up. Hopefully the stream bot, whatever, the cloud bot's working today. I don't want a timer on this. Let me edit it really quickly. Oh, it's disabled. Okay. All right, so let's start the giveaway, and hopefully this works. We haven't used the cloud bot for a long time at this point. So I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed that the thing works. I don't know. There it is. It worked. Okay, so to enter, how do you enter? It's been so long. So type into the chat window !raffle, or copy and paste that, what it says. All right. Twyla, make sure you have to type it correctly, just like DKMTG. That's a tough one to say. And Jim did. !raffle. All right. And Daniel was asking, what am I cleaning up with? It's just acetone. You could use denatured alcohol. Acetone just kind of evaporates quicker. That's why you typically use that. It's a little bit stronger, I would say. But denatured alcohol is a little less harsh, for skin and smell and all that kind of stuff, I think. And that'll clean up any of your epoxy, any of the resins, if it's liquid still. Okay, so once it's hardened, you're hosed. There's nothing much you can do. But when I'm cleaning things off, if there's a little spill here and there or whatever, I'll use one of those solvents to wipe this stuff up. You don't really want to do that on your hands. If you get resin on your fingers or something like that, go and wash them with soap and water. Those solvents will kind of dissolve them, but it'll want the chemicals can kind of leach into, it makes them really small, and then the chemicals can kind of leach into your skin. So I don't recommend doing that, but for just picking up stuff when the resin is still liquid, use acetone or denatured alcohol and you'll be good to go. Is it not working? Oh, something weird's going on. I don't even know why I try this stuff. Streamlabs is just killing me. Should be working, I don't know. All right, so let me, swear to God, I should just use something else. Why doesn't YouTube just have its own raffle thing? Oh, there, it is working. It's working. It's working. Whoo-wee. Still not getting any information from Streamlabs, though. This is a clunky system. I think these things work a little bit better on Twitch. I'm going to be honest. I think there's some issues with YouTube with this stuff. There we go. It is working. Just took it a little while. And so you only get one entry, just to let you know. So there just literally is no use in doing it twice. But if you want to make sure that you got in and didn't see the little, the reason that I flood the chat with these things, it's not because I'm trying to get lots of chats or any of that stuff. It's just so that there's a record, so you can see and it tells you that you got entered. That's the only reason that we're doing this kind of thing. I realize that it's pretty obnoxious, but it's the best way that I know of for you guys to get a little bit of a recognition that you got entered. You know what I mean? I need a drink. I need a little drink of water, guys. Throat's dry. I'm talking too much. That was pretty fun. I like just kind of messing around with these things, just making some blanks. It's cool. Sometimes the cloud bot it took us forever to figure out how to get this thing to work. And then the funny thing was, it would never work. It would never work. And then the funny thing was, like, I had to turn off CloudBot and then turn it back on. That was the answer. And I was like, seriously, come on. I mean, I should have done that probably, but come on. Streamlabs. I think it should just be built into the thing at YouTube. You know what I mean? All right, so let's see here. Is there anything else that I can share with you guys while we're putzing around waiting for the entries to come in? I'll just kind of let it go. I used to have it on a timer and that was crazy. It would shut down and people wouldn't know. So I'm just going to kind of wait, probably wrap it up in like a minute here. So Dave Sloan, make sure you type in !raffle, no spaces, !raffle. What you entered is not going to get you entered. And I can't enter you. So the only way to do it is if you enter it and type it into your screen there. That was fun trying to get it to work. No, it wasn't. It's so funny because everybody's like, oh, it works so great. It's so easy. And I'm like, why is this thing not working? Got to turn it off. It's just like a computer. You got to turn it off and turn it back on. There we go, Dave, you're in. All right, so I'm gonna wait till the clock, there's 1 minute or so. When it says 4:44 in my shop, it'll be, I'm gonna close it down. Just to let you guys know. All right, put this away. This will be fun. We haven't done a giveaway for a while. Kind of forgot about them. Fun for you guys, yeah. It was a freaking nightmare, I know. And like we had to wait, you know, like you had to wait and then see if it worked, and then it didn't work, and I'm like, oh, come on. I just want to give things away. Oh, there we go, 4:44. So I'm going to shut it down, guys. The funny thing is I'm going to say that, so I'm going to kind of stall a little bit because there's a lag between the video and me actually carrying this out. So probably like a 10 or 15 second delay. So just to make sure you guys, it's closed down. All right, so we're going to close the entries. It's closed. And we're going to pick a winner. Let's do this. Boom. Bruce Hage. Bruce, you're the winner. Here we go. Giveaway closed. There it goes, popping up there. Bruce, you'll have to tell me how to say that last name. Haig? Looks like Haig. I'm going to go with Haig. Congratulations! You get 3 pen blanks. So the easiest thing to do to get me your address, do not type it on here or anywhere else on social media or anything like that. Head over to my website, nvwoodworks.com. And there is a, let's see here. I'm just going to link to the contact form here. Here's a link to it. Just go there. That's a direct link. It's just an email thing on my website. That way you're sending it directly to me. I just need your address, and then we'll get this thing shipped. And actually, if you're, let's see here, are you in there? There you are. So are you in the U.S. or not? Because that's the other thing is if you're not in the U.S., then we'll have to kind of figure all that kind of stuff out with the shipping. I'm going to need your address to see how much it costs, and you know it's crazy, but hopefully you're in the U.S. so it's so we don't have to worry about it. Oh man, I wish that you could just ship things and it cost the same and it took the same anywhere in the world. That'd be so much easier. Yeah, don't type it into the chat. People, there's crazy people out there. But anyway, congratulations. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. I had a blast messing around with the Wine Country Micas. We'll probably do something different on the next one. I had something in mind and now I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I'll think about it and we'll come up with something for next week's stream. And then in the meantime, I'm probably just gonna for that shelf, I think what I'm gonna do. That was a Patron hangout. So the May Patreon hangout, the monthly one that we do. I think what I'm going to do is I usually repost those, the first half of it, so the casting part of it, on YouTube, like down the road. And so what I think I'm going to do is probably get some shots of me milling it and sanding and doing all that kind of stuff, getting that shelf ready and then mounting it. And so just be looking on YouTube for that replay. It'll be a condensed version. I'll edit down that hangout part where I did the casting and then add in the extra clips to finish the project. So be looking for that. I'm pretty excited about that thing. I can't wait to get it up. It's going to go right there and it'll hold some knickknacks and goodies. So anyway, guys, let's see here. So don't forget, tomorrow is the Turner's Warehouse. I think it's at 3. Good Lord, when is there? The problem is they decided to do their live stream on my day off. I'm doing stuff, So let's see if I don't know if it says. It always forgets to tell me this. Live stream. Okay, here we go. Live streaming every. I was hoping it was on their website. Live streaming every Thursday. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. What is PCT? Must be some kind of Pacific Arizona time thing. So 4 o'clock PCT, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm guessing that's their the Pacific Central time, like the Arizona time zone thing. 4 o'clock, and they've been doing some really awesome live streams, so make sure to check them out. Chad and Tim over there have been doing some awesome stuff. And then this weekend I should have the dust collector collection, you know, like the what is it, the ductwork and the new Dust Gorilla video up. And it's going to be it's not going to be like a whole in-depth, like how do you set this up or anything like that. It's mostly just going to be kind of sped up footage of showing different shots of me putting it together. And then my kind of like, you know, thoughts about the process, any tips or anything like that, and what I thought about it. So anyways, be looking for that on Sunday. That video will go up on YouTube, and I think that's about it. So next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, we'll do some more resin casting with, I don't know, I'll figure something fun out, and it should be pretty cool, so make sure to check back in then. But other than that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Big thank you to the super chatters. I appreciate all your support. Big thank you to everybody that liked the video and always shares the videos and stuff like that over on social media. I really do appreciate that. That helps out so much. And big thank you to, of course, to all the patrons out there too. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys all on Wednesday evening. Happy casting.